Yeah, like, they could be thinking maybe we should ban the Alice. They're thinking, oh no, they're gonna they're gonna take the Lorio on the bench this time. No, okay, they're
Yeah.
just trolling at this point.
I would say I can tell you the conversation that happened there was, okay, guys, we have first ban. Does anyone want to play Superman? Because obviously you can ban out the Kilgroth, and it forces the side of scammed gamers to then have to ban Superman. Otherwise, they give it over. The L'Oreal was thought about, but Kilgroth has been favoured immediately by the side of scammed gamers with first pick, 4 seconds on the clock.
Yeah. And there it is. Yep. So that actually made sense. So they actually hinted that it was between, the conversation, and that actually is a very common question of, is anyone in here play Superman? I have seen that every single time in my games. But yeah, they hinted at the ban of the L'Oreal. L'Oreal did not go out of the game, and so they grabbed her first. But to counter into that, we see the Zenio coming out with the Zephys, a very popular combo that we've seen over the past couple days, and that's going to be answered with a Thane and Ryoma. Now, I am a personal fan of Ryoma, as I use him quite a bit, and it looks like he is going to be going jungle this time. And although a lot of people don't favor that in the NA region, that is still very good. And because he has that roaming, he has an overall potential. He can roam, he can mid, believe it or not. And of course, we already know his solo lane potential. So that is, I think, a very good pick.
Yeah, with the punish there, could be jungle, could be solo lane. We'll see where the rest of that Trident team lane themselves out. Astrid, I love to see an Astrid. You don't see much Astrid play in general across both EU and NA regions. However, she's received a few small buffs over time that have made her a little bit more viable. With Astrid, you have to bear in mind, once you get to sort of your second, third item, you get that rank breaker or something along those lines, the actual amount of damage that she can deal in these team fights is significant. And obviously her ultimate will give her immunity for a couple of seconds while she charges it up. So if you can time that well against an enemy side, it can be extremely good. And the lower her health gets, the more damage she's going to do with that ultimate. And also she will stun anyone with higher health than herself at that point in time. So it's in her interest to get into the team fight, get in the mix, be up in your face, take a lot of damage, and then make sure you well time that ult. I'm interested to see how well that Astrid is played out, especially combined with things like the Mina, the Ryoma, the Thane. We did see the Jinnar, Alice, the team that we talked about, combined with that Angelic Splendor from Zenio. That is a lot of ability power on the side of scammed gamers, though.
Yeah, so we're looking at this, and this is another pure example of tank meta. Tank meta is really popular. We like to run it a lot, and it's really viable. So in this case, the main damage dealers we got going on is the L'Oreal and the Ryoma. Now, of course, we can't leave out Astrid, like you said, when she gets her items up, and she can do a considerable amount of damage as well. And she does get a shield every a couple times too, so that's going to be a little bit annoying. But they do have to, considering hopefully they build some magic resist, as you were right, they have the Jinnar, the Zenio, and the Alice 3 AP that are very much annoying, and if you put that combo together, and we're seeing a Lubu come out again. Now, it would be interesting if we see like that solo lane split Lubu that we saw the last time. That was some amazing stuff going on. So I'm really curious to see where this Lubu is going to be taking that. And of course, we do expect the usual things from Zephys. But in terms of aggression on the early game, I am going to have to give it to the side of Ryoma, because they have more of a solid team that can actually invade. Where you look at the other guys, they're really squishy. And let's be honest here. I mean, as much as Alice could start off with her son, Jinnar can't do too much with his kit, and Zenio too with the shield can get popped. So that's just my take.
Yeah, I think that this is definitely going to come down to that sort of, well, the early aggression. Both of these teams will benefit from a little bit of early aggression. However, I feel like the late game will go more so in favor of the side of scammed gamers, just because, like I said before, Alice, once she gets a few items, she will get to that point where her cooldowns are fairly low. She can utilize that full utility, that full kit to help her team out. And Nirvana, obviously, that cooldown starts dropping as well. And we've seen just how effective the Nirvana can be in these team fights if used well, and if you can group the team together. I almost feel like the Mina pickup on the side of Trident was just to stop Mina being picked up by scammed gamers to combine with the Jinnar and the Alice, to be fair, because those three together are absolutely brutal. The game obviously now in full swing, and we can see the teams just slowly making their way through, but it looks like an invade coming out here from scammed gamers as they start making their way into the Trident jungle.
Yeah, and they're going to take initiative this time. So as much as I thought they were going to go with the passive, they're not going to sit back and take that. Mina's going to be the first one to actually be on the red. She was probably trying to leash that get it away from them. It's not going to work in their favor, as Scammed Gamers are going to be the first to take the initiative and go in there. However, it looks like Thane is going to be the first to get caught out this time around.
Yeah, despite the passive, Thane will go down first blood, going over to Jinnar. Mina did think about coming back in there again, and I was internally screaming, run away, because if Mina had gone back in there, she probably would have died also. We can see here that nice little pickup is enough for them to just back straight back out the jungle. They're not going to get greedy with it. Scam Gamers returning immediately to their side of the jungle. And you can see Zephyr's just going to be farming up on that blue to make sure that he got it. He's got himself into full swing, but that slight level and experience advantage that's fallen over to the side of Scam Gamers could play a big role in when you see ganks appear in lanes, because obviously a lot of these junglers will wait until they've got level 4, and if that is the case, they'll be getting level 4 a little bit quicker. Sticker in the top lane here, great little stun there. Sunshine used to great effect. Sticker goes very low, but will get out of dodge. Exile and Pip just doing what they can here to try and take down this Roma. Roma, though, falling very low himself, will be forced to dash out of there. Zenial still going to be firing up that wave and pushing it in. Meanwhile, Zephys has turned his attention to the top side and is on Spirit Sentinel. So for the moment, just a little bit of a battle going down between Lubu and Thane in the solo lane. Thane are not notoriously great at wave clear, will struggle against the Red Stallion of Lubu. How do you feel about seeing heroes like Lubu being such big picks here in the Valiant region? We don't see them to the same extent over in NA and EU.
I think Lubu is honestly, even if they're not picked in EU or NA as much, he's like an underrated pick. A lot of people don't know. He's not that mechanically challenging, but at the same time, his combos are sometimes difficult to get by, and people might be afraid of that. And when people don't, or if they feel uncomfortable with it, they don't want to play it, right? And I feel like Lubu falls in that category. So because of that, he's shied away from more than he should be. And you can see another fight's actually going to break out. Jenner going to take initiative this time, taking out that Thane and the Ryoma with him. And this is bringing up something that I forgot to mention earlier. So, I talked about the tank comp and I kept going and boasting on about it, but there was one little key thing missing here, and this is exactly what Scam Gamers is working off of, and that is picking these guys off one by one. See, United, the tank team, is perfect, but to make up for that loss and how squishy Scammed Gamers are, they stick within about a 2 to 3 person ratio. And as you can see, there's going to be another game coming down. Mina's going to be caught out next, and of course, Zeph is capitalizing on that. Alice doesn't have enough mana to get in a stun out. Not that it's going to stop them, though. Lubu's going to get his knock up this time, and Zeph is going to secure that kill as well. And you can see this. They're doing 3 to 2 man rotations constantly, catching these guys out one by one. And if they keep doing that, the tank meta is actually going to fall back in the favor of Trident. So Trident needs to pick up on this and figure out a strategy to go and counter that.
Yeah, going back just a couple of minutes there, or about a minute there, it all started with Kaisaya invading onto the side of Trident and trying to steal away their red. That forced a couple of members of Trident to come down and to defend the red, dividing the team up, and that allowed for the rest of Scam Gamers to descend down, and we saw that those huge team fights and those pickups by the Jinnar there. And then obviously that followed up by a nice objective in securing that Abyssal Dragon there for Scammed Gamers. Really good play from them. Of course, their crew has been caught out in the mid lane though. Jinnar forced to use the defensive Nirvana. He's hit thrown down as well for good measure, just to try and keep him safe. Sitting around that half health mark, but you can see meanwhile in the top side, Exile pushing on that tower, does realize that he's being closed in on and will get himself out of dodge, does still have his dash, so will just dive over that wall and get himself to safety. So nothing to worry about there. Meanwhile, Thane left to solo defending the bot, whilst this aggressive side from Samurai Gamers take another objective and take the red away from the side of Trident. Trident really struggling to keep hold of their jungle.
Yeah, Scammed is taking that opportunity to constantly, they have the timer of the red, they're keeping that in their mind. And of course, it's on the dragon lane. It's the perfect lane to take control of. And this is going to add, I talked about Ryoma being good in jungle, but as any jungler, you need to farm up. And so if they keep denying him some of those really important camps, that is going to hinder him quite a bit. And Ryoma is playing defensive right now, trying to help out his team. As you can see, Astrid's also going on defense as well. They're trying to stack up against these guys, realizing that they're grouping up. They're trying to separate them. But Alice, as you always point out, is being annoying as always. They're constantly getting caught in those stuns.
Yeah, the sunshine used to great effect by Pippa. We can see now, as again, Sticker trying to put that little bit of aggression onto Kaisaya, but amazing stun there, double pickup into the Jinnar ultimate. Nirvana doing so much work there. combined with the Angelic Splendor just for good measure, probably wasn't even needed there, to be fair. They were looking pretty healthy regardless, but it does allow the team to now go as a 5 on towards this L'Oreal in the mid lane. Another brilliant stun there, quickly out of dodge there from Ashe as they get themselves out to safety, but they are popping the ultimate. They are trying to defend them with their lives. They are doing a great job of it, but it's not going to be enough as they go down eventually. Great tank work there from the Alice, making sure that the shots from the tower are going towards her. Really easy to do if you know how to play Alice well. You can utilize your hissy fit to make sure that the tower is always focusing you, because you're the person that is doing the consistent damage towards the enemy. Allowed her to kind of duck and dive out of the tower range and keep the focus on her, allowing her team to pick up another kill there on L'Oreal. Again, you can see just the teamwork. These guys are moving like a pack of wolves through the jungle, taking objective after objective, taking away everything that they can possibly pull Trident back into the game as they now move on to their potentially second Abyssal Dragon of the game.
Trident at this point is starting to pick up the strategy that they realize they're in the group, and they're starting to group as well. The lane phase does not last long in Arena of Valor, but it is not enough to stop these guys, because they're always, like I said, the 10-step rule, as I like to call it, and they're constantly knowing, after they finish one objective, we're going to move here. After we get red buff, we're going to go here. After we get to this team fight, we finish this lane, we get these guys, we're going to push up here. And of course, you can see Lubu doing his split push, but after his split push, instead of going all the way, he always comes back to team. And another team fight breakdown here. Jinnar with a wonderful ultimate, breaking down that turret finally and pulling out the Mina. It does look like Astrid's going to take a go at it, but she's going to get caught out as well. And of course, Zeph is going to finish off, and they're going to get a really big push out of this. Ryoma going back to farm, but is he going to get caught out as well?
It looks like it, because he's going to drop as well. Can I say that all started again with a nice double stun by the Alice. People are putting in some serious work here for Scammed Gamers as they now sit 14 kills to 0. Not a single kill on the board for Trident at this point in the game. They have managed to get themselves a tower, but this is not looking and feeling too good for Trident right now. They need to keep their heads up. They need to stay focused, because in Arena of Valor, anyone can come back. It is possible as you get to the late game. We've all had those games where, one good team fight and suddenly you've got 50 seconds to walk down mid lane. It can happen. However, the longer that Trident lead this, the bigger this lead is going to be for Scam Gamers. And with the Slayer at possible risk of being taken here, they need to act quickly.
With each team fight, though, against Trident, and if they, as you can see here, Ryoma is going to get caught out. He wants to defend that turret. He means well by doing so, but at this point, they could have just let the turret go and try to plan for something more. They do understand the Darkslayer is on the board as well, so that could be initiative for it. But they're getting caught out one by one again. As you can see right here, the teamwork coming out from Scammed Gamers is enormous. These guys are completely in sync, and these are the teams that have that rare teamwork where they know what each other is, whether it's voice communication, and sometimes you don't even need voice communication, and the Darkslayer that we're talking about, they're going to take it, but they're just always on the move. Trident here, they've from right now, just from what I'm seeing, they seem split-minded. Some want to stay and defend, and others want to go and try to get something going, and that's okay. But as a team, you need to come up with a decision, and you need to commit to that decision once you have something down.
Definitely. I feel like communication is we all know how key communication is in these pro level. I mean, this isn't a pro tournament, but when you're trying to get to that pro level, you need to work as a team. You need to communicate well, and I think you can see the difference here between Scammed Gamers and Trident. The Scammed Gamers, they are all on the same page, whereas I feel like the communication between Trident, you said it yourself, half of the team seem to be wanting to play defensively and farm for the late game. The other half are trying to get these picks, trying to manage to secure these quick kills. But with the team play coming out from Scammed Gamers, if Trident do manage to find one member of Scammed Gamers, it's not long before the rest of them are there to pick up that kill in return. They're now, with Slayer buff, pushing in on this high ground tower, and that high ground tower is already extremely low. I don't think there's much that can be done here as it drops as well. Thane ultimate was used, but so's Angelic Splendor, and that's going to keep the rest of Scam Gamers relatively healthy as they push in. More kills going in their favor as they start going towards that base with a minion wave as well in tow. Does mean they can do decent damage here, and that base now with no minion wave, they are going to brute force it and get that down regardless with a clean sweep. As far as kills are concerned, a legendary Jinnar and a 21-0 scoreline. A dominating performance there by Scam Gamers.
Indeed, as we can see here, this was like that pure teamwork case where we saw one side with a little bit of the split communication on one side that was just on the same page. But at that ending there, Trident did, I would say, a pretty good job. They had the right mindset. So Thane went in, right? He had the ultimate. He did get a couple of them low. And as his team tried to come in, Ryoma was trying to secure that. It's just the damage output coming when Jinnar decided to just move over. And of course, Alice throwing the hissy fit and the stuns coming out. That is kind of what sealed the deal there. And they were grouped up. But overall, I think for a last effort defense, I'd say Trident did pretty good on that one.
You could definitely see them slowly coming onto the same page. I think they just got there that a little bit too late. If we take a look at Yuri, particularly Yuri, Pippa, and Krez, look at those score lines and look at the amount of kills those guys were involved with. 20 out of 21 kills for both Yuri and Pippa. And then 19 of those kills involved Kurez as well. So that's a huge number of those 21 kills that those guys as a team were involved with. And it just shows the synchronization and the synergy between those three. We saw just how well they followed up each of these things. Every time Pippa managed to catch someone out with a stun, immediately you saw Yuri dive onto them, Kurez to follow up with the Nirvana. It was really great to see from a caster's perspective. I imagine it was brutal from a Trident perspective, and yeah, it was really well played from both sides. But at the end of the day, Scanned Gamers really dominating performance, really impressive stuff.
And just to add another input here, it's interesting to see Alice running Hermes boots. She really wanted to catch up to those fights with the Valiant. She was landing pretty much the majority of her stuns, which was amazing. And the fact that she got that support item and the Aegis to help her out with her mana issues that she was having earlier was fantastic as well. Kind of makes me want to check out Alice sometime.
Yeah, for sure. Alice, I main support, and I hadn't put the time in on Alice that I really wish I had before she became meta. But Hermes Boots just going to allow for that early roaming. The Asterian's Buckler, solid defensive support item, is going to allow the rest of her team to do that little bit more damage whilst reducing the damage of the enemy. Such a personal item on most supports. You'll see it picked up by a lot of people. But Pippa, with that build, you can clearly see them putting their team before themselves. Pure out utility, and it paid off dividends. Great play there from both sides, and you can see just there the amount of damage being output from the side of